Dear viewers, welcome back to our channel. In the digital age, cars are no longer simple mechanical products but interconnected, intelligent vehicles. However, with the advancement of technology, internet-enabled cars manufactured in China have sparked a debate about national security in the U.S. market. U.S. President Biden, citing national security concerns, has announced unprecedented action to address this potential threat. However, this move has raised many questions. Firstly, whether Biden's actions are too biased and discriminatory against specific countries. Secondly, whether there is sufficient evidence to prove that Chinese internet-enabled cars pose a substantial threat to U.S. national security. Finally, whether this action will have a negative impact on Sino-US economic and trade relations, or even exacerbate tensions between the two countries. In this challenging and uncertain context, we need to think carefully and find the best path to balance national security and international cooperation. On February 29, 2024, U.S. President Biden announced an investigation into Chinese-manufactured internet-enabled cars, citing so-called potential national security risks. Biden claimed that China would dominate the future automotive market through unfair practices, and the proliferation of Chinese cars in the U.S. market would pose a national security risk to the country. He declared that the U.S. government would take unprecedented action in response. According to the New York Times, on Thursday local time, Biden announced measures to block Chinese internet-enabled cars and trucks, including electric vehicles, from entering the U.S. market. He claimed that the internet operating systems on these Chinese-manufactured cars would collect sensitive data about American citizens and infrastructure, transmitting this information back to China, posing a threat to U.S. national security. According to a statement from the White House released on the U.S. government's website, Biden stated that American automakers and auto workers are the best in the world. The iconic American Big Three automakers and American auto workers are leading the world in quality and innovation. A vibrant automotive industry is crucial to the U.S. economy, so he cannot tolerate Chinese cars flooding the U.S. market happening under his nose. Biden said that most cars are now connected to the internet, like smartphones with wheels. He claimed that internet-enabled cars from China could collect sensitive data about American citizens and infrastructure and transmit it back to China, and these cars could also be accessed or disabled remotely, posing a risk to U.S. national security. He then announced that the U.S. government would take unprecedented action to ensure that imported cars from China and other countries of concern will not undermine our national security. The New York Times also reported that while Biden's latest measures do not immediately set new barriers for Chinese electric cars, a U.S. Treasury Department official said it was the first step in a broad response to prevent low-cost Chinese electric cars from flooding the U.S. market. It is not only aimed at cars manufactured in China but also includes cars assembled by Chinese companies in countries such as Mexico. The official said electric cars are one of the areas the Biden administration is most concerned about China's potential influx into the U.S. and other markets. The motivation for this investigation is national security risk. It also serves a broader strategy to ensure support for a robust U.S. auto industry. Bloomberg cited another unnamed U.S. government official as saying that the U.S. has not yet called for a ban on Chinese electric cars, but potential measures could affect a range of internet-enabled and autonomous driving cars and impose some restrictions on imports of components from countries of concern such as China. The White House press release stated that the U.S. Department of Commerce would investigate internet-enabled cars using technology from countries of concern, including China. Reuters added that the U.S. Department of Commerce would seek opinions on the so-called potential risks of Chinese internet-enabled cars within 60 days and then consider drafting regulations to address the issues. The investigation will also collect detailed information on cars currently assembled in the U.S., including where automakers obtained software licenses. According to the Associated Press, U.S. Commerce Secretary Raimondo claimed that the U.S. is taking action before Chinese-made cars become widespread in the U.S. and may threaten our privacy and national security. Internet-enabled cars can collect a large amount of sensitive data, from driving routes to biometric information. She solemnly stated, therefore, it is not difficult to imagine that foreign adversaries such as China, if they can obtain such information on a large scale, will pose a serious threat to our national security and citizens' privacy. However, the Wall Street Journal pointed out that industry analysts have said that most software and operating systems used in cars sold in the U.S. are manufactured by U.S. or European tech companies, not China. Sam Abulsamid, a car analyst at Guidehouse Insights, a consultancy highly recognized in the field of autonomous driving, analyzed that the threat claimed by the Biden administration is actually minimal. Alex Euler, director of SBD Automotive, a UK-based automotive research and consulting company, also added that although China does manufacture some cameras, microcontrollers, and sensors for cars sold in the US, it is difficult to directly obtain data from them. He said these components are integrated into systems, which are primarily manufactured by non-Chinese suppliers such as Bosch and Harman. The Associated Press pointed out that this investigation is the first action taken by the Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, a subordinate agency of the U.S. Department of Commerce, under Biden's new executive order. Biden also signed an executive order this week aimed at protecting U.S. domestic information and communication technology from national security threats, claiming to better protect American citizens' personal data, such as health and financial records, from attacks by foreign adversaries such as China and Russia. On February 29, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning responded to this at a regular press conference, stating that the U.S. has generalized the concept of national security, falsely accusing China of purchasing sensitive data of American citizens for malicious activities and prohibiting data flow to so-called countries of concern, including China, which is a clear discriminatory practice against specific countries. China firmly opposes this. Mao Ning emphasized that the Chinese government has always attached great importance to the protection of data privacy and security and has never required companies or individuals to collect or provide data, information, and intelligence located abroad in violation of local laws for the Chinese government. China has taken the lead in proposing a global data security initiative. If the U.S. really cares about data security, it can openly support China's initiative or make similar commitments. We demand that the U.S. stop slandering and blackening China, effectively maintain an open, fair, and non-discriminatory business environment, jointly formulate universal data security rules with all parties, and promote the orderly and free flow of global data. Finally, let me summarize today's video, hoping it brings you some inspiration and value. In the digital age, with the proliferation of interconnected devices, Chinese-made internet-enabled cars may collect sensitive data about American citizens and infrastructure, raising concerns about technology security and privacy protection. This topic involves the collection of personal data, privacy protection, and the security of technical systems, which are closely related to everyone's daily life. The Biden administration's action against Chinese-made internet-enabled cars is somewhat beneficial to American technology security and privacy protection. As the automotive industry becomes more digitalized and intelligent, cars have become not only means of transportation but also potential platforms for data collection and transmission. Considering that internet-enabled cars may collect users' personal data and sensitive information, such as driving behavior and location information, regulating and controlling them is crucial. The Biden administration's measures reflect its emphasis on technology security and privacy protection, helping to prevent potential data breaches and privacy infringements. By restricting Chinese-made internet-enabled cars from entering the U.S. market, the risk of data misuse can be reduced, protecting the personal privacy and data security of American citizens. This move also demonstrates the government's determination to address the challenges posed by emerging technologies, providing certain guarantees for safeguarding the rights of citizens and national security. However, it is worth noting that this measure may also have some negative impacts. Firstly, it may further escalate the trade tensions between China and the US, affecting the economic interests of both sides. Secondly, restrictions on Chinese-made cars may provoke retaliatory measures from other countries against the US, exacerbating international trade frictions. Therefore, the government needs to balance various interests and adopt more balanced and pragmatic measures when formulating relevant policies to ensure technology security and privacy protection without compromising international cooperation and economic development. That's all for today's video. See you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.